For me, I grew up in Brockton, and we listened to WCAV, which was the only country station for, gosh, miles and miles around. And I'm probably fast forwarding a little bit here, but obviously, I've told you in the past through social media that my dad's favorite song was "In Pictures."
Mm.
He had a young daughter when he was in Vietnam, and she was taken away from him, and so it kind of that song really hit hard for him. But for me, my favorite Joe Doyle song might surprise you a little bit. It was "This Old World" on the Daryl Dodd "One Ride in
Oh, wow.
Vegas" CD.
Wow, that's going
Yeah,
back away.
that's a
Daryl
lot.
was Daryl was an old friend. I keep in touch with him a little bit on Facebook. I saw him at a party on Music Row. Gosh, it's got to be 8 years. 8 years. I haven't seen him in about 8 years. What a great talent, and what
Oh
a
my
great
gosh, man! I'll tell you what. Like
yeah.
I said, he was a hero of mine growing up, and I've been very blessed to be able to interview him and got to meet him in person. He kissed me on the lips, actually, when we met. Kind of a funny story, but yeah, I wanted to tell you what my favorite one. Of course, I didn't know at the time that you had wrote the song. This is much later that I learned that, but
Yeah.
that was a deep cut too, I believe, on his album. Wasn't even a single.
No, it wasn't a single. It was actually one of the only songs that Daryl didn't write on the record.
Right.
Other,
Yes.
I think, well, Tom T. Hall had "That's How I Got to Memphis" was on that record.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was thrilled. He and I were both at the same publishing company at BMG at the time.
Wow.
He had, I don't know if you can see that J45 to my left.
Beautiful.
Well, one of the producers on Daryl's album was a guy named Chip Young, and Chip played acoustic guitar on Jolene. He played for Dolly. He produced "I Can Help." Your baby needs a daddy. I can help. The old Billy Swan record. He
Mm-hmm.
played on everything, produced everybody. His name was Chip Young. Unfortunately, we lost him a handful of years ago. But he got that guitar from me because he was a Gibson endorsed artist. And actually, I wrote a good portion of "In Pictures" on that guitar.
Wow.
I wrote the other part of it, the chorus, on a baby grand that was in our old house in Kingston Springs. This is going back to 1992. Uh, getting back to Daryl, Chip was the one who got Daryl his record deal over at Columbia, and then co-produced the album with Blake Chansey. I think Blake was one of the staff A&R guys, and his Blake's dad, Ron Chansey. Let me get this right. Was the Statler Brothers producer, and but Blake was his son, and he was an A&R guy, and they co-produced Daryl's record. I remember going to the studio with Daryl to hear it. They were still doing overdubs, and a guy named Shane Decker, who was one of Daryl's best buddies. We were all three hanging out, having some cocktails over at a place called the Country Club. It's no longer there. They tore it down. It's a hotel now. But we went from there over to the studio and got to hear it for the first time. I was thrilled. Like I said, Daryl's a talented guy and a super nice guy.